This is this beautiful time where we really have the darkest day, right? The darkest night. So what does that even mean? I mean, of course, it's been the entire time we humans have been on the planet. We've had this relationship with the sun, and there's if we pay attention to the natural rhythms, it really is this time to cultivate the inner light. I know Hanukkah started last night. There's a lot of festival of lights around this time of year for many cultures. And it's important, that we learn to cultivate that inner light when the times get dark. And of course, darkness can come in the heart at any time of year. But it's a symbolic time of year and a very natural time of year to kind of look inward and find this restful place, as well as cultivate anything that can be lit up within you. So I'm going to read a poem by Mary Oliver. I've never read this poem until this morning, and I love her work. I don't know if many of you know her work, but this is called White Eyes by Mary Oliver. In winter, all the singing is in the top of the trees, where the wind bird with its white eyes shoves and pushes among the branches. Like any of us, he wants to go to sleep, but he's restless. He has an idea, and slowly it unfolds from under his beating wings, as long as he stays awake. But his big round music, after all, is too breathy to last. So it's over. In the pine crown, he makes his nest. He's done all he can. I don't know the name of this bird. I only imagine his glittering beak tucked in a white wing, where the clouds, which he has summoned from the north, which he has taught to be mild and silent, they thicken and begin to fall into the world below, like stars or the feathers of some unimaginable bird that loves us, that is asleep now and silent, that has turned itself into snow. All right, so let's sit up straight and tall and take a moment to drop into the darkness behind your eyes. So close your eyes and enjoy the sacred space of quiet and dark. So see if you can rest in any place that you go to first. Where is this place that you access first? What easily rests? And then from that place, see if you can expand a little more broadly in the sense of melting. So expansion often feels energetically heightened or lifting. It can have expansion can have this sense of lightness, but see if you can temper that with letting your expansion be the expansion of your softness, of your melting qualities, where when you feel spacious, it also feels restful. Melt through your shoulders, all the way down to the palms of your hands. Melt your diaphragm, even if it costs you a bit of your posture for a moment. Melt the inner core. And then reconnect to the length of your spine with as minimal amount of effort as possible to support your structure. Align, feel what that feels like when your crown is over your tail, when you have space for your heart. Can you melt into this? Now, all the places that you've prepared with rest and ease and space, fill your breath into these places like you're pouring water into a cup. Let your breath fill you, all your little nooks and crannies. And then at the same amount of relaxation and spaciousness, let your breath go. Hopefully your eyes are still quiet and silent and still. Of course, light streams through our lids. Let's see if you can notice the imprint of having less input. Place your hands together at your heart and lift your sternum just a bit, not enough where you're pinchy in your back body, but enough to open the stout heart. Bow in. And if there's an intention that you'd like to create for this turning tide of these dark days, these next few days, which are really the turning point where we welcome in that inner light, the outer light. For this nurtured cave time of deep dark, what do you need? What would you like to nurture? Release the hands. And let's find our way onto our back. All right, so as you lie down, enjoy. It's such a cool thing to shift from seated or standing to horizontal. So let's just pay attention as we notice those transitions. All right, so stretch the right side and stretch the left side and feel that sense of opening and awakening. Reach one arm up and then the other. Reach one hip down and then the other. Big full breaths, fill up your chest. And then bring your knees into your chest and rock a little bit, swaying side to side. Now, I didn't suggest blindfolding, which of course I think all of you have done a blindfolded practice with me at some point probably. But imagine, maybe you want to experiment. Let's circle the knees now while we're here. Maybe you want to experiment with seeing what it feels like to consciously, intentionally keep your eyes closed as much as possible through your practice. And it's only a suggestion. Maybe you're not in the mood for that today. Go the other way with your. But sometimes letting our eyes rest can be very helpful for paying attention to other parts of us, relying on other senses to help us along our way. Let's open the knees away from each other and bring them back. So if you want to dance with that dark place, go ahead. See what it feels like to notice what else heightens when your vision softens. All right, right knee into your chest, left leg comes long on the ground and move around your ankles. Breathing deeply. Find that long, full breath. Change sides when you're ready. Left knee in, right leg on the ground. Feel free to move your feet around. Enjoy opening some little bits between your toes and your ankles. Let your head get heavy again. And then release that leg and stretch out like a star.
Spread your whole body wide. Imagine how big you can get. And if your eyes are closed, feel, even if your eyes are open, feel into the edges of your body. The very tips of your fingers, the very tips of your toes, stretch. Get yourself as big as you can. And then when you're ready for an exhale, knees dry, and then get yourself as snug up and small as you can. Pause here for a moment. You can always put your head down if it's bothering your neck. Just squeeze in for a bit. And then a little faster pace with our stars. Stretch out, take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, draw into the center. One more time. Expand outward, rely on your other senses to know where you are in space. Exhale, drawing it on in. Relax your head down onto the ground, feet onto the ground, arms stretched straight out to the sides like a T. Okay, let's windshield wiper our knees a little bit. Feel free to, hang out in a twist for a bit longer if it feels good, or feel free to keep moving if that feels good. Notice if you like dropping your knees to one side more than the other, if you have a pattern of a more comfortable side to twist to. All right, and then we're going to roll over onto our side when you're ready and come up. Keep your eyes closed if you can, open them whenever you want. All right, so feel the ground below you. Drop some weight into your knees. Drop some weight into your hands. Feel that contact with the ground. And let's just have a little bit of yielding practice here. So with your eyes closed, bear a little more weight into your right hand, soften your right elbow, then push off that into your right knee, and over into your left knee, and into your left hand. And so just kind of spinning your weight bearing in a little bit of a circle. Notice your elbow joints in particular. Are they receiving? After a couple of passes in that direction, you can go the other way. Left hand, left knee, right knee, right knee. So just feel without your eyes. Can you feel your sense of ground? Can you feel that sense of where you are in space? All right, and then ground all four limbs. Start moving through some cat-cows. Enjoy. So your spine loves this, so let's just give your spine what it loves. And so feel free to touch your teeth as you lift your chin. Feel free to relax your skull as you drop your head. Feel into the way your spine and your other bones articulate with each other. So your hips, your pelvis, your rib cage, your skull. And even though your shoulder blades and your collarbones and your sternum don't touch your spine, that, really just your vertebrae do, start noticing the relationship of your chest. So it's your sternum, your collarbones, your shoulder blades, your ribs, your spine. Movement pattern that feels good. Wag your tail, move your head around. Feel that yielding again. And then as you're ready, sink back towards child's pose. Arms stretched out overhead. Put your knees in a happy place. Relax your skull. Find your breath. Let's walk our hands over to one side so that you have that big, wide opening in the rib cage. The skull is relaxed. The forehead is soft. Imagine melting your brain toward your forehead. Let your eyes be heavy behind their lids. Over to the other side. Again, feeling that sense of surrender in the skull, openness in the rib cage. Fill up your breath. And then come back to center. Back up onto all fours. Move the spine about. How are your eyes? Are they liking being closed, or are you opening them sometimes? What feels good? Inhale, arm up. When you do open your eyes, because of course you will, right? Then go ahead and stretch down into our thread the needle twist. Notice what your vision offers you and enjoy the light. See if you can enjoy both the dark and enjoy the light. Feel the spreading of your wings in the back body. And inhale, reach that arm back up again. Hand comes down onto the ground. Second side, arm lifting. Exhale and slide that shoulder underneath. Enjoy the twist, breathing well, let the neck relax. Inhale, reach that arm all the way back up in the air. And then place the hand down onto the ground. Let's find our way up to dog pose. All right, so spread out your hands and your feet and see if you can feel that yielding again. So give your weight over to the earth. Feel that you are a part of the earth, that you're connected. You know, even though we can jump off of the earth, 99.9% of the time we have, even more than that probably, we have weight coming down into the earth with one limb or four limbs or any number of body parts are yielding into the earth. So let's enjoy our connection. Drop your weight. Rise up out of that support. Melt your skull if your eyes are closed. Enjoy that. Enjoy the restfulness of the eyes softening. Move around any way you want to move around. So dog pose is such a beautiful place to just explore how your body's feeling. Enjoy the benefits of the inversion and the big open space for breath. All right, and then when you're ready, bring your feet forward and come into Uttanasana. So folding again, let your knees bend as much as you want. You're bending from the hip joints, not from the side bodies or from the spine. Let your neck bobble and relax. Inhale for a halfway lift. Spine gets big and spacious and broad. And then exhale and melt. Fold to come back down. Head is relaxed. One more time. A halfway lift. Feel your breath. Exhale and melt. Maybe your eyes are opening. Maybe they're closing. Whatever you're doing, pay attention to how that feels. Rise up. Bring the arms to the sky, big open chest if it feels nice. You can lean back, feel the spaciousness of some cactus arms if you want. And then release the hands down, give them a good shake. Breathing. Okay, one more time. Inhale, arms come up, open up through your chest, and then release your hands behind you. Interlace your fingers behind you and bend forward. The knees can bend. You're bending from the hip joints. See if you can allow your arms to leave your spine wherever they naturally go. Okay, so they might touch the spine, they might be 3 feet away from the spine. Whatever feels good, relax the head. Enjoy the inversion. And then release the arms, let them melt. Inhale for a halfway lift. Maybe you want your hands on some blocks. Exhale. And melt back down. Drop your seat, lift up. We're going to do this against a wall or against a piece of furniture. So we're going to start out just at a half, like a half dog. And so we're stretching through the spine, feeling the extension. You can have your hands against a wall or your hands on a piece of furniture, whatever feels good. Thigh bones move back. If you're very flexible, try not to melt. So feel that spaciousness of the spine. You want to lift under your armpits and not melt too much if you're hypermobile. Okay, and then we're going to take a step forward. If you're on furniture, you can put your elbows on the furniture. If you're on a wall, put your forearms against the wall. If you can manage it, you can drop your thumbs toward your spine, stretching through your triceps. All right, so notice again, are you sinking? Lift up under your armpits if you're hypermobile. Thigh bones move back. Breathing well. You can bend your knees as much as you want. All right, and then come out of there.
Go ahead and come up to stand. Let your arms rest and relax. Breathing deeply. Standing in Tadasana. Chances are you've opened your eyes a bunch. Let's try resting them again. Just feel into the sense of ease that comes behind your lids when you can rest all of the muscles around your eyes, not just vision, but all the muscles that control the movements of your eyes. All right, feel that yielding again. Now see if you can do this with your eyes closed. We're going to bear weight a little more into our toes and just lift the heels a little bit. You don't have to come all the way up on your tippy toes, but just notice what kicks into gear. Can you feel your core? Do you want to open your eyes? And then open your eyes and feel the support. Let's have such deep gratitude for the support of our vision. Okay, come a little higher onto your toes if it feels good. Arms come up and then heels back down. And float forward, relax your head. A halfway lift, spine gets long, melt again. Eyes can stay open or closed, so experiment. And whatever you're choosing, whether it's your eyes open or closed at any moment, see if you can just pay attention. Be very aware of how the lack of vision feels really good and how your vision feels really good. Hands on blocks if you want them. Step your left foot back. Come to a lunge. Find your breath. And start moving. Feel that your breath is guiding your way. What can be easeful and spacious? Find a lunge, put your knee down on the ground for a moment. If it's comfy to do so, you can always put a blanket under there. Let your toes, the top of your toes, move down into the ground. So uncurl your toes if it's curled. Feel that hip flexor opening. Find your breath. And we're going to come up off of your blocks, hands on your knee. If you don't like this on your knee, you can always lift your knee up off the ground. Inhale your left arm up, up. And we're going to tip a little bit over to the side. Just feel the hip flexors open. You can always put a block neck under your hand if you want. Enjoy. And then we're going to release that hand down onto the ground. Back knee comes off the ground. One more time, straightening the front leg, soften the hip flexors of the back leg, melt your head. Inhale, come forward into a lunge. Rise up to a crescent, reaching the arms upward if it feels nice. Cactus the arms if you want to. Reach the arms back, whatever feels good. Open the chest. Find your breath. Now release the hands down. Back foot comes forward, melt. Let those hip flexors of that back leg soften now. Halfway lift, spine gets long and spacious. Melt and fold again. Step your other foot back, so come to a lunge on this side. Now our left foot is forward. Let's enjoy. Just feel into the hip flexors, the front of your thigh, that back leg, let it get spacious. You're ready. Let's start moving with breath. You can straighten the front leg a little bit and then bend it a little bit. And just feel into the movement of your body, the movement of your breathing. Maybe your eyes can close again. Whenever you consciously let them rest behind your lids, soften all the muscles around. Try not to strain. And then what are you relying on to know where you are in space? Feel that something else is taking over as your primary way of understanding your proprioception, understanding where you are. Place that back knee down onto the ground, uncurl your toes, feel the top of your foot rest. Find your breath. When you're ready, you can come up a little higher if you want. Hands on your knees. If your eyes open, let your gaze be soft. Ground into your legs. Press your front heel down so that you have support. You're not sinking. Reach the right arm up. Find that extension. Maybe your body opens a little bit. You can always put your hand on the block on the side or keep your arm on your thigh, whatever feels good. Neck is soft and relaxed. Feel into the hip flexors. Open that front hip and psoas. All right, bring your hands back down onto the blocks. Lift your knee up off the ground. One more time, straighten your leg for a moment. And bend your knee. Spread out your toes. Feel your yielding. Connect yourself to the earth and then rise up. Bringing your arms up to a spacious place, or maybe they want to stay down. So just find the pathway that's best for your shoulders, your breathing, your open heart. Ground yourself. Yield, push and reach. Keep the neck soft. Turn on some muscles. So press your front heel down to get your glutes and the hamstring to turn on. All right, and then we're going to bring our hands down. This time, foot comes back. Dog pose. Lift and widen through your sit bones. Spread out the bones of your hands and your feet. Yield. And push off your hands and feet to lengthen, to feel that push and reach. Melt the skull. Maybe your eyes can close again. Enjoy the inner sensing, the interoception, the proprioception. These are nervous system states that, of course, your eyes are a part of proprioception, but they're not the only way we perceive where we are. So let some other things take over. Come forward into a plank. Again, feel the yielding. Unlock your elbows, unlock your knees. Feel the stability in your core. Let the shoulder blades drop down the back a little bit. Integrate. And then when you're ready, you can put your knees down. If you'd prefer to come down on your knees first, then roll the shoulders once you're down on the ground. Just feel that mobility. Close your eyes, perhaps. Inhale, cobra pose. Exhale. And melt back down. Hands go wide out in front of you. Inhale and lengthen. Stretch your legs, maybe one leg and then the other leg. Feel the extension through your belly. Melt on your next exhale. Bring your arms down next to your sides. Pull your elbows down toward your hips. Engage your core. Engage your legs, your glutes, everything strong. Inhale, lift up with no hands. So you feel the back of your body work for the posture. Breathing deeply. Exhale and melt to fold. Come up onto all fours. Move your spine about. And then we're going to come onto our back for a moment. Bend your knees, put your feet on the floor. Rest your head, enjoy this. Maybe your eyes feel comfortable closing. All right, so we're going to just light up some of the muscles along our spine. The multifidus, if you're unfamiliar with those, they're the muscles that connect one vertebrae to the next. Okay, you know those parts of your vertebrae that stick out to the sides? These little muscles connect one to the next. Okay, so it's like a little track up our spine. So we're going to start at the tail and feel this. So neutral pelvis to begin. And we're going to try to scrub on the ground. So we're, trying to like drag the mat. We're going to pull our sacrum toward our shoulder blades. And just feel some of the muscles in your low back kick into gear. And then relax that for a moment. So imagine you have a very heavy tail that, our tailbone's not just a little tiny bone, but we have a giant dinosaur tail. And we're trying to lift it up toward our head. So a little bit of engagement into an anterior tilt and then relax. So we start to kick in some of the muscles in our low back without
having to weight bear that strength. Now notice, see if you can do this now a couple times with the block between your thighs. So kick in your pelvic floor to share the burden. So a little bit of engagement of your inner thighs, a little bit of engagement of your pelvic floor, and then scrub the tail up toward the skull. And then relax. Scrub the tail. Pelvic floor, inner thighs help or helps. And you may feel like, all right, well, this isn't really doing much, but we're turning on some deep muscles of the spine. Okay, let's release the block, roll over onto your side, and come up onto your hands and your knees. Once again, maybe you want to be in the dark, maybe you want to be in the light. So side eyes open or closed. Right leg is going to stretch out behind us. Feel those same muscle groups along your low back, and now start to feel that it can travel up your spine. Bring your left arm out in front of you. So we do this all the time, right? Knit your ribs in. See if you can feel those lines along your spine from your left shoulder to your right buttocks. Can you feel that sense of hugging the vertebrae? Engage your core to support as well. And then release your hand and knee down onto the ground, and let's change sides. Left leg is going to come up. Find that first. See if you can feel. We're not going to try to get into an anterior tilt to the pelvis. You want to stay fairly neutral with a lot of core, but imagine that scrubbing of those muscles that you felt on the floor. Reach your other arm out in front of you. So right arm's out, left leg's back. Engage your core, so sandwich your spine. See if you can find some of those little muscles along the vertebrae. All right, release your knee and hand down onto the ground. Sway your hips side, side. And then we're going to come down onto our belly again. Arms out in front of you. Same idea, but now we're on the floor. We're going to lift your right leg and your left arm. Stabilize with your core, so it's shared burdens. Keep the neck long, and see if you can feel into the movement that's here, the stability along your spine that's here. Breathing, neck is long, and then melt and relax that. Change sides. We'll lift the left leg, right arm. Breathing well. Notice if you have, differences on your two sides. If one side feels stronger than the other, more stable, more aware. And then release and melt. Come up onto your hands and your knees. Move your spine around. Just release that. You can sway your hips from side to side or do some circling. And then back. The child's pose you built. Settle your hips down toward your heels and open up the spine. See if you can now imagine that the channels of those muscles along your vertebrae are channels for breath, that you can just breathe in a tube right down the sides of your spine. All right, spread out the hands and find your way lifting up. Okay. Hands and feet are wide, drop in. Feel the weight, feel the push and the reach. And let's walk our feet forward. Come into Uttanasana, relax your head, let it soften, wag your tail while you're here. Inhale for a halfway lift. Melt again. Drop your seat, rise up, bring the arms to the sky, and then bring your hands down to the center. So maybe close your eyes for a moment. See if you can pay attention to that inner space. And now notice if your back is alive, you feel some of those muscles awake now. Breathing deep. We're going to stand on our right foot. Hold on to something if you need to. We're gonna grab our left, just for a quad stretch. We're not moving into dancer pose. Drop your knee down toward the ground, lift your chest. You can descend the tail and lift the pubic bone. Just feel into the stretch of your quadricep muscle. Full breaths here. And then let's release and change sides. Okay, so you can be in space or you can be holding on to something. If you're in space without holding, try not to lean, into one hip. See if you can integrate. Drop the knee. Soften the gaze. I know you're probably with your eyes open for balance, and that's great. Just see if you can soften and notice how much we rely on our vision. You're ready, release that foot down. Inhale, arms come up, a big swan dive forward. Exhale, relax your head. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, step your left foot back, come to a lunge, drop your back heel down. Virabhadrasana 1, rise up. Maybe you bring your arms up, maybe your arms are out or back. So find the pathway. Drop weight into both feet. Feel the extension. Can you use, if your arms are overhead especially, can you use some of that support of those muscles? Engage your core. Breathing well. And release your hands. Half splits, rising up. Come up onto your toes if you want to. Lift that leg, extend. And then keep the hip, so if you're up on your right toes, lift your right hip, keep the lift as you drop your heel down, squaring things up. Find your breath, step back, shorter stance now, extend through your spine, square hips, long spine. Step your foot back, step your foot forward, come into Uttanasana, relax your neck. Other foot back. Left foot is now forward. Come into a long lunge. Rising up, Virabhadrasana 1. So the back heel is down onto the ground. Reaching the arms up. Maybe that's not where you want to be. Maybe you'd rather have your arms out or down or hands to your heart, wherever you're going. You're in that grounded place where you feel the yielding. Drop in and then reach. Yield, push, and reach. Extend through your spine, feel those muscles support you. Keep the neck and eyes relaxed. All right, we're going to come forward into half splits. Reach that leg back behind you, hands on blocks. When you're ready, perhaps lift up onto your left toes. Lift your left hip high, high. Keep the neck neutral. Drop the heel down without changing the position of your hip. Keep lifting it up. Stretch that leg behind you. Find your breath. When you're ready, shorter stance, drop back. All right, walk your back foot forward. Hold here, relax your neck. Halfway lift. Drop again. Drop your seat, lift your chest, rise up. Find your breath. Hands come down. Step your left foot back. Virabhadrasana 1. Arms lifting up or out or wherever you want to be. Virabhadrasana 3. So arms can come out to the side or back or forward. Standing up on that one leg, use those muscles of your spine, engage your core, knit your ribs in, square hips, lift your triceps a little bit higher than your back body. If the arms are back behind you, square hips, feel the muscles along your spine. Find your breathing. Okay. Rise all the way up onto your standing leg, lift your knee, breathing well. Hands come down onto the ground, or not onto the ground, but next to you. Foot comes onto. Right, breathe well. Enjoy your 2 feet. Maybe close your eyes and let some other sensing take over.
Step your left foot forward and your right foot back. Virabhadrasana 1 on this side. Extend, maybe your arms come overhead, maybe your arms do not come overhead. So just be where you are. Breathing deeply. Put your arms where you want them to be for Virabhadrasana 3. Come up onto that leg. Lift your other leg in the air. Square hips. If your arms are next to you, reach them. Fingertips reach away from crown. If your arms are overhead, especially if your arms are overhead, feel those muscles along your spine. Take any pathway here that feels supported. Ribs in, legs are engaged, push into the ground. And slowly stand on up, bring that knee up. Find your breath. Place your foot down onto the ground. Pause. Deep inhale. A long, steady exhale. Close your eyes if it feels comfy to do so. Drop some weight into your right foot. Pick up your left foot. Dancer pose. Reach the arm up in the air. Find your breath. Kick forward a little bit. So see if you can find those muscles along your spine balanced with the front body. So engage, knit your ribs in, feel your core. So we're not just falling. Breathing well. Be this, feel that sense of a long spear of energy reaching from your hand through your body down to your foot, from your foot through your body out through your hand. Come back to center, put your foot down, close your eyes. Breathe well. Exhale long. Notice if your breath tightens when you try to balance. Let's go on to our left foot now. Grab your right foot. Lift your left arm up in the air. Stabilize with your core. Keep your neck soft. Keep your eyes soft. Even if your eyes are open, which I'm sure they are, keep them soft so we're not burrowing into our balance, but we're feeling a sense of spaciousness. Yield your foot. Reach through your body. Can you feel that long line of energy moving through you? Full breaths. Try to square the hips, square the shoulders, tip forward however much you want to go. Come out of the posture, foot down onto the ground. Soften your shoulders, your neck. A big breath. Inhale. Lift your arms. Exhale. And flow forward. Let your neck relax. A halfway lift. Melt again. Come down onto, we'll come back to dog pose first. Let's go through vinyasa. Extend and lengthen here. Let your neck relax. When you're ready, come forward into a plank. Integrating the whole body here. Find the ground, or maybe up dog, you do you. Cobra or up dog, find your way. Melt and fold. Come up onto all fours. Move your spine about. All right, now if you have a couple of blankets, let's take them, one or two, and we're gonna put this right underneath our lower rib cage. And you can ignore me if you don't want to do this pose this way. Okay, so it's a little uncomfortable to begin, gets more comfortable. We're gonna reach back and grab our feet and come into a version of Dhanurasana with a little support under our chest and belly. All right, so find your breath, grab your feet, lengthen through your spine. Try not to throw your head back. Keep your neck neutral. Breathe. Feel the angles of your pelvis, tailbone down, pubic bone up. Feel that your diaphragm is open. All right, and then melt. Come off of your stack and stretch back either to all fours and move around. Or if you feel like you can go deeply the other way, child's pose. Come up onto all fours. If you're not already there, bring your right foot forward. Lunging again, finding that openness of the hip flexors of the back leg. And now make sure your back shin is comfortable on the ground. We're going to drop back into half splits. Bring the blocks back toward your hips with you. The blocks may not be high enough, so sometimes I'm up on my fingertips on the blocks. You want to have a long spine. If you want, you can stack the blocks on the inside edge of your right leg, and we're going to twist. All right, so drop your hip down like there's an anchor. Open across your chest. Find your breathing. Relax and come back to your lunge. Child's pose between the two sides. Rest. Open up the back body. Find your breath. Come forward. Bring your left foot forward now. Lunging. Enjoy the right hip flexor. Feel it open. Breathe well. And we're going to square up the hips, straighten the front leg, half Hanumasana, so our toes come off the ground, heels down. Walk the blocks back so that you have spaciousness in your spine. Lift your chest. Now, when you're ready, you can twist. I like to take my blocks, stack them one on top of the other on the inside edge of my straight leg. So inside edge of your left leg. Drop your hip. Try not to hike your hip out and up. See if you can keep your hip in and down and start to twist here. Breathing well. Drop your shoulders. Flex your toes. Sink your hip. Press your shin. Lift your crown. Open the collarbones and back. Relax. And melt out of there. Come onto all fours. Move your spine about. Okay, rocking your hips to and fro. Pigeon pose or reverse pigeon pose. Right leg forward. So make a choice and choose any props that you need to help you along your way. Extend through the spine. Come forward when you're ready. If you're on your back, melt your back of your head on the ground. If you're on your front, melt your forehead into a block. Feel into the ease of this posture. Breathing deeply. Enough. Change sides. So it could be as simple as just changing your legs if you're on your back on the ground. If you're in pigeon pose, find your pathway to switch sides. Some people like dog pose in between. Adjust your blankets or anything you need for support. Then find your way into the pose on this side. Once you get comfortable, the spine is spacious, the sit bones rather are wide.
Melt your head. So close your eyes, return back to that state where we can enjoy the darkness, that there's something nurturing to be found about going inward into the dark places. Already find your way out of there and come down onto our back. Let's bring our knees into our chest. Rock a little bit, swaying side to side. And find a happy baby pose. Drop your knees, lift your feet. Feel that compression of your hands moving down, your feet moving up. Relax your legs down, feet on the floor. Lift your hips and scoot them over to the right. Bring your knees up and drop them over to the left. Breathe well. Now, of course, if you want to straighten your top leg, you can grab onto your pants or your leg or your big toe. If you want to keep your knees bent, great. But either way, whether you're straightening or bending the top leg, your bottom leg is soft and your knees are stacked. Come back to center. Neutral pelvis, feet on the ground. Have a breath here. And then when you're ready, scoot your hips to the left, knees come up and drop over to the right. Open your chest. If you'd like, you can straighten the top leg, grab onto your big toe with your fingers, or grab onto your leg or pants somewhere. If you don't want to have the top leg straight, that's fine. Just a gentle, the twist we usually do. And knees stay together either way. Head is heavy. Open the chest for good breathing. Come back to center. A big starfish. Spread your limbs out. Exhale. Draw them on in. If there's anything else your body needs, take what your body needs. Otherwise, we're going to come into Shavasana. So I would recommend for your Shavasana to have something to cover your eyes. If you have an eye pillow, great. If you don't, that's fine. Maybe grab a piece of your sweater or a blanket or something to cover your eyes. Warmth is so important. So make sure your body has plenty of it. You can use a blanket over you if you need that. Support your body in any way you want. You can have some support underneath your knees. You can do anything that feels good. Like I said, if you have something to cover your eyes, take it. Prepare your Shavasana properly so that when you get into your comfortable position, you really can surrender. Close your eyes and breathe. Melt all the muscles around your eyes. See if you can melt your whole head into the ground. Follow that with melting your shoulders, your arms. Feel the weight of your spine, heaviness in your pelvis, the heaviness in your legs.
Begin to deepen your breathing. And as you enjoy your weight, your rest, your silence, your darkness, I'm going to read the poem again, White Eyes by Mary Oliver. In winter, excuse me, in winter, all the singing is in the top of the trees, where the windbird with its white eyes shoves and pushes amongst the branches. Like any of us, he wants to go to sleep, but he's restless. He has an idea, and slowly it unfolds from under his beating wings, as long as he stays awake. But his big, round music, after all, is too breathy to last. So it's over. In the pine crown, he makes his nest. He's done all he can. I don't know the name of this bird. I only imagine his glittering beak tucked in a white wing, while the clouds, which he has summoned from the north, which he has taught to be mild and silent, thicken and begin to fall into the world below like stars or the feathers of some unimaginable bird that loves us, that is asleep now and silent, that has turned itself into snow. Let's begin moving. Very slowly find your way onto your side. Come up to sit As you feel ready, place your palms together to your heart. Close your eyes. Soften your eyes. Feel your center. And let's often offer the gift of the silence that's behind our eyes to someone who's in need of rest. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.